Live from KSAT 12, the Nightbeat starts right now.
Bexar County deputies arrested a man accused of illegally dumping at a car lot, then being involved in a shooting and a deadly crash.
This all happened last week, and today the Bexar County Sheriff's Office arrested this man, 39-year-old John Yates, on deadly conduct charges. The night team's John Paul Barajas sat down with the wife of the man who died, allegedly dying after chasing after Yates.
I refuse to believe it. It was like a nightmare you can't wake up from.
It's a nightmare that's now a reality for this woman who didn't want to show her face on camera. Her husband, 36-year-old George Gomez, died last week after chasing away suspects who were illegally dumping at the car dealership he worked at off Highway 181 and Loop 1604. What did he mean to this family?
Everything. He was our rock. He meant everything. The biggest joys his family had was him coming home.
According to Bexar County Sheriff Javier Salazar, Gomez and the other employees chased 39-year-old John Yates and the driver of an orange Dodge because they were illegally dumping on the car lot property. During that confrontation, BCSO believes Yates brandished a gun.
That Gomez was firing through his own windshield while pursuing them. And the evidence that we found on Gomez's car is consistent with that. Now, whether or not they shot back at Gomez is a distinct possibility.
The sheriff thinks the suspects may have shot back at Gomez, but since Gomez and his car were not hit by gunfire, it's unclear. The sheriff adds during or after the chase, Gomez suffered a heart attack, crashed, broke his neck and his back, and died on scene.
Yes, we all have the right to defend ourselves and our property, but again, taking the law into your own hands, chasing somebody down and firing shots at them, certainly not the recommended course of conduct in a case like this.
If someone brandished a gun and my family was there, I don't know how I would have handled that situation. Like I said, George was a protector.
Gomez's wife tells us he leaves behind 3 boys, a 6-month-old, a 6-year-old, and a 16-year-old.
George, we love you. We miss you. You were the best father any of these boys could have.
John Paul Barajas, KSAT 12 News.
You feel for that wife. The driver of the orange Dodge pickup truck that you saw in that picture has not been named or charged, but BCSO says that person has been questioned.
Somehow, a man is expected to be okay after being shot at almost a dozen times in downtown San Antonio. This happened just after 5 p.m. today on South Bowie Street near River Center Mall. Officers say that the 34-year-old man was shot possibly during a robbery. One of his injuries was to his head. Again, he is expected to recover. Tonight, it's unclear if the man who was shot was a victim or a suspect.
Disturbing details in this next story. A couple arrested accused of endangering and abusing their own kids. Among the many horrific details listed in the arrest affidavits, 26-year-old Lisa Olivo is accused of failing to give her 20-month-old daughter seizure medication. That child died in March of last year. 41-year-old Luis Olivo accused of holding their 5-year-old son's head underwater until he couldn't breathe. A neighbor who wanted to hide her identity remembers the family well. That family's since moved out.
I did notice there was a lot of aggression with her and the child. She would scream at him, talk to him very ugly.
Another sad detail mentioned in the affidavits shows the mother, Lisa, allegedly did a Google search asking if suffocating a 5-year-old would show up on an autopsy.
What happened is the force.
After 3 years, the man accused of causing a crash that killed an unborn baby is finally going on trial. Constantino Tristan Gonado is charged with manslaughter, 2 counts of aggravated assault, and aggravated assault of a public servant. This case is all linked to a crash that happened on the south side of San Antonio back in May of 2021. The state is arguing that Gonado caused a crash on I-35 in South Zarzamora, and then while he was running from that crash, he allegedly hit another car who then was stopping for an oncoming ambulance.
What happened is the force with which Mr. Coronado hit her while he is fleeing forced her across into oncoming traffic, and she was hit head on by an ambulance that was running code in the opposite direction.
The she that prosecutor was referring to is April Levine. She was 8 months pregnant at the time. She had a 1-year-old in the back seat. The woman, her child, and the paramedics all suffered injuries, but the woman's unborn son did not survive. As for the defense, they're saying that this was a crash. They say this wasn't a crime. They say that Coronado was the one that was hit in the first crash and that he was trying to turn around to get back to the vehicle that hit him. Also, the defense is saying that Levine didn't pull to the side to let the ambulance go through and was instead in the middle of a fast lane. If convicted, Coronado is facing up to 20 years in prison. The Texas Department of Public Service tonight is mourning one of its own. Last night, a Kingsville Border Patrol agent was killed. 46-year-old Brandon Brown was driving near Kingsville when a car hit him head on. A 39-year-old woman was driving that other car. Investigators say that she was alert and talking after the crash. Now, we're still waiting to learn what caused her to cross into the oncoming lane or if she's going to face any charges in Brown's death.
Tonight, consumers anxiously awaiting the Federal Reserve's decision about interest rates. They've been sitting at a 23-year high since March of 2022, but tomorrow they're expected to go down. Today on our KSAT Q&A segment, we welcomed Kurt Dahm, a senior portfolio manager at Victory Income Investors. He talked about what the potential drop means for you.
Tomorrow, the American consumer is going to win. Auto loan interest rates are going to come down. Home equity loans are going to come down. Credit card interest is going to come down. Mortgage rates are likely to come down. The American consumer tomorrow is set up to win for the first time in 14 months, which is the first time that the Fed will cut rates since they raised rates in July of 2013.
That's just a portion of our interview. We spoke with Mr. Dahm about the ramifications for first-time home buyers, existing homeowners. You can watch the full KSAT Q&A segment right now on KSAT Plus.
Now let's go to your Nightbeat Newsflash here. Tonight we're seeing a picture of the vessel, that vessel right there that imploded in the Atlantic Ocean in June of last year. This is the first image of the Titan submersible right after that tragedy. If you remember, 5 people were on that. They were on a voyage to see the wreckage of the Titanic when it just imploded, and all 5 people on board were killed. Instagram now taking steps to protect teenagers. The platform is introducing separate teenage accounts for those under 18. It's trying to make the platform safer for kids, as more studies show how harmful social media is for kids. The teen accounts will be private by default, and teens will only be able to get messages from people they follow or are connected to. And that's a look at your Nightbeat Newsflash.
The head football coach at Lee High School investigated over the summer, accused of making sexually inappropriate comments to one of the school's athletic trainers. That woman told KSAT Investigates she resigned this summer. Next on the Nightbeat, an in-depth examination of NEISD's investigation of the Lee football coach.
The head football coach at Lee High School is accused of making sexually inappropriate comments to one of the athletic trainers at the school. The woman that we're talking about resigned this summer after she says that district administrators failed to protect her from Coach Wendell Harris.
As KSAT Investigates, Dylan Collier learned Harris was allowed to stay in his post despite a witness corroborating the woman's claims.
How is it that his word is better off than mine?
This former athletic trainer at Legacy of Educational Excellence, Lee High School, asked that we conceal her identity. Earlier this year, she came forward to Northeast Independent School District Administration with claims that head football coach and athletic coordinator Wendell Harris had repeatedly sexually harassed her in the workplace. The first incident was last September in the school's training room. The woman, another trainer, and a coach had a conversation about someone the woman had previously dated.
Not even 2 minutes later, Coach Harris walked in and looks me up and down and says, "I heard you're for the streets. I have tricks too."
She said Harris's intent was clear.
That he was calling me a hoe.
A month and a half later, in mid-October, the trainer rushed onto the practice field to tend to an injured player. When she and the other trainer went to brief Harris on the incident, she says the coach directed another inappropriate remark at her.
Coach Harris made a comment that it was like an episode of Baywatch this morning and did the gesture of my boobs bouncing as I was running out to the field.
The other trainer had again witnessed the encounter.
Once she realized what was said, she understood why I was uncomfortable.
The woman formally complained about Harris's behavior this winter to Lee High School principal Alex Escamilla and recorded what turned out to be a very tense conversation after Escamilla told her it was a he said, she said situation.
I wish you'd bring them to me sooner.
And this is not going to get swept under the rug. I'm sorry to say this.
Absolutely not.
But we're not doing this. But I'm not letting this happen to the next person.
Days later, the woman met with NEISD Director of Athletics, Kelly Parker, who told her in a conversation she also recorded that she should have had a face-to-face talk with Harris.
What's happened is this is just festered until we're here today.
This summer, after an attorney representing the woman contacted the district, NEISD launched a formal Title IX investigation into Harris's actions. The coach, in a written statement, denied making the For the Streets comment and said it was other coaches and the trainer herself who were jokingly mocking how she ran to attend to the injured athlete. But the same investigation also included statements from the school's other trainer, who confirmed Harris said, "I heard you for the street," and "Don't worry, I have tricks too," and that the comment, quote, came out of nowhere. And regarding the October incident, wrote that somehow a conversation on an injured player turned into Harris saying, quote, "This morning it was like an episode of Baywatch." He then put his elbows to his chest and started swinging his forearms left and right, end quote. In July, weeks after the trainer resigned, the investigator concluded there was not a preponderance of evidence to support either allegation against Harris.
I broke down in tears reading it. I called my parents upset because reading the statements, you see someone else corroborated exactly what I said, but then there was nothing found. This was a district that I saw myself retiring from. I saw myself staying in education. I didn't leave because of the kids. I left because of the situation.
For KSAT Investigates, I'm Dylan Collier.
NEISD officials declined to comment for the story, saying even though the investigator concluded the claims were unfounded, the Title IX decision maker has not rendered her final decision. An attorney representing Harris sent KSAT the following statement Monday night. Coach Harris is innocent of the false allegations made against him. There have been several investigations, including a mandatory Title IX investigation into Redacted's claims. The official findings of that Title IX investigation were given to KSAT, and those findings state there was a lack of credible evidence to conclude Coach Harris did anything wrong. Redacted is apparently upset about the official findings of the investigation and has now resorted to using the media to smear Coach Harris. The Title IX investigation conducted followed proper due process, and all parties were interviewed and heard. The findings revealed that Coach Harris did not do what this woman is accusing him of doing. Note, the statement included the woman's name. We altered it to replace her name with the word redacted.
Some of you felt some shaking last night, and here's why. There was a 5.1 magnitude earthquake about 300 miles away. The U.S. Geological Survey says that it happened at 7:49 last night, 20 miles north of Midland. People near Austin and Dallas, they felt it, especially the people that were in high-rise buildings. This is just one of several earthquakes that have shaken West Texas over the last few years. And I know you're probably thinking, you've got questions about earthquakes in Texas. Well, you're in luck, because our meteorologist Justin Horn did a KSAT Explains episode on this very subject. Scan the QR code so that you can watch it, and you'll learn more about why more of those quakes are happening right here where we live.
And I also learned something earlier today. Adam Caskey telling me why you're more likely to feel it in a high-rise building than on the ground.
Why is that?
Well, it's because the motion is accentuated or exacerbated higher up, right? Kind of makes sense. You know, the taller the building is, the more you're going to feel that sway.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, let's talk about the partial lunar eclipse earlier this evening. And this was, I think the view that most of us saw with the naked eye, you see that little cap on top of the moon, that's the Earth's shadow. But if you have high-tech equipment, it looked more like this if you could really zoom in on it, and like this as well. And actually, our photographer, Matt, he took some video of it from the KSAT parking lot right around the peak time, and that's the view he got. So we had that partial eclipse. About 4% of the moon was covered during the peak of the eclipse. And here's what we're talking about with a lunar eclipse. Very different from the big solar eclipse that we had. The lunar eclipse is where the Earth gets in between the sun and the moon and then casts its shadow on the moon. Now, you heard the term supermoon a lot, not just with this moon that is technically a well, actually not even technically, it's just what people call it, a supermoon. Anyway, a supermoon is basically when the moon in its elliptical orbit around the Earth is at its closest point. So people call it a supermoon. To the naked eye, you won't notice a difference between a supermoon and a regular full moon. So don't be tricked into it. It's only about a 7% difference in size and brightness. You have to really have equipment to see the difference. Your eye just glancing up at it won't notice. Anyway, let's talk temperatures going forward. Mid-90s for the most part. We're talking 94 to 97 through the rest of the week and into the weekend. And then we get into early next week and the upper level heat high will break down just a little bit and trim off a few degrees. 94 was our high today, 4 degrees shy of the record and 4 degrees above average for this time of year. Get used to the above average temperatures, as I showed you. Now, we were in the 90s pretty much everywhere. I mean, at 90 Rock Springs and Junction, 91 Kerrville, but Hondo up to 95 for the high, 93 in Carrizo Springs and Pleasanton, 96. Now, look at this. You go all the way up into the Dakotas, Pierre, South Dakota, not all that much cooler than us at 91 for the high temperature, even Wichita at 91 degrees. The heat high, this ridge, the bump in the upper level flow stretches all the way up into Canada. That's where we have the warmest temperatures. Conversely, where you get the dip in the upper level flow, that's where you have the cooler air. Las Vegas, the high temperature today, 83 degrees. Even Phoenix at 93, not bad. Salt Lake and Boise in the 60s, along with much of the Pacific Northwest. Now, this upper level high is going to keep us dry. It's deflecting all the active weather up and around us. And this is going to be the dominant feature here going forward for several more days. And notice how Friday morning, there's another dip in the upper level flow, but it can't make it here because the upper high is blocking it out. Then into early next week, there are some indications that it'll weaken a little bit and flatten out, and potentially, it's not a guarantee yet, but potentially by this time next week, we could open the door for some disturbances. And if a cool front develops, the door could be open for it to get here at some point later next week. 76 and mostly cloudy at 7 a.m. Then we're sunny and 96 for the high temperature. But when you factor in the humidity, it could briefly feel like it's 100 to 102. But actual air temperatures in the mid 90s for most of us, 95 Uvalde, Pleasanton 97, lower 90s up in the hill country, Kerrville, for example, 93 along with Fredericksburg. And we do have the autumnal equinox coming up this weekend. We'll talk more about that in the days ahead. But it's not going to feel like fall. It's just astronomically going to officially be fall at 7:44 a.m.
It's also just fun to say autumnal equinox.
Exactly. That's why I say it as much as I can. The autumnal equinox. And we can't see the moon here, but it was a good, bright, full moon out there. Still is on display. And you can't, I think the tail end of the eclipse is done, but you can still see the bright full moon and Saturn to the upper right of it. That bright star is Saturn.
All right. Thanks, Adam.
Thank you. So let's switch it up. Get off football, volleyball, high school volleyball specifically.
Yes, District 26 5A volleyball headlines your sports coverage tonight, and with a couple of heated matches at Piper and at Smithson Valley. Plus, we hear from Cowboys D coordinator Mike Zimmer following the Cowboys' lackluster performance week 2.
Last week, don't get too high. This week, don't get too low. We got a lot of areas that we need to improve in, obviously.
The Cowboys' execution on defense wasn't nearly as effective as it was week 1, and the road ahead doesn't get easier in big board sports. But first, mid-season District 26 5A volleyball action, starting with the top 2 teams in the district. Piper hosting Bernie Champion. First set, a dig error allows Champion to get in rhythm, and Brielle Booth climbs the ladder for an incredible back row attack. She's only a sophomore. Piper stays poised, and senior Natalia Ortiz lays down the hammer on the outside. Later, junior Dani McAllister gets the roll shot kill for the Warriors as Piper defeats Champion 3-1. Now to the home of the Smithson Valley Rangers, who sit 5th in District 26 5A, hosting 3rd place New Braunfels. Picking up in the 5th set, a great serve by Amanda Turan, and JC Owen delivers the quick attack for the Rangers' point. Soon after, Unicorns in control, and Valerie Wadas capitalizes. Later, what a dig by Smithson Valley, and Claire Bolton gets the kill as Smithson Valley wins it 3-2. You will see plenty of physicality when you go up against the Houston Texans defense. It's by design, but did Aziza Al-Shir take it too far when the linebacker laid a tough hit on Caleb Williams? Head coach D'Amico Ryans defended Al-Shir's when asked about the hit, but he didn't condone his sideline punch that'll likely draw him a big fine from the NFL. Here's what Ryans had to say.
Everyone goes, everyone gets a little antsy when the quarterback gets hit on the sideline, and but if the quarterback stays in, he's gonna get hit. And now I think everybody's a little sensitive when there are big hits in the league. We still play a physical game, and you're gonna get hit hard if you're playing against us. From Aziz's perspective, we can't throw punches or anything like that, but just overall, we just have to be able to protect players, and it goes both ways.
Ryan's also making reference to this play where the Bears linebacker uses the banned hip drop tackle on starting back Joe Mixon. After an MRI, Mixon's not seriously injured and will have a chance to play against Minnesota.
Really, most of the guys, I didn't coach up good enough. Really isn't one spot. It was, there was things that we didn't do well. We ran under some blocks. We had some perimeter run force issues. But that's me.
Cowboys D coordinator Mike Zimmer taking accountability for his unit's poor play on Sunday. But Dallas will have to pick itself up quickly as it's set to host reigning NFL MVP Lamar Jackson, 4-time Pro Bowl running back Derrick Henry, and the Ravens on Sunday. Baltimore will also be looking for vengeance and their first win of the season. On Saturday, UTSA rushed for a season-high 128 yards against number 1 Texas, led by Robert Henry Jr., who racked up 65 yards and the lone touchdown. The Roadrunners didn't have many wins in the 56-7 loss, but where they did hold the advantage was time of possession, and the defense had 2 turnovers by interception and fumble recovery. After practice this morning, quarterback Owen McCown, who completed passes to 12 different receivers, talked about the team's improved rush attack and growth from week 2 to 3.
That's one of our cornerstones of our program, and to see flashes of that against a really good team after struggling, the first couple of weeks with the run game was really positive. Week 2, it was a lot more negative than positive, and I think this past week was a lot more positive than negative. And like I said, going against that opponent and what the results of week 2, all you can ask for is growth. So that was really good to see.
As for UTSA's week 4 opponent, Houston Christian put up 70 points last week against an NAIA team. All right, after the break, a huge fight on the horizon for San Antonio's El Azteca. Welcome back. San Antonio's Mario Barrios' next fight has been announced. El Azteca will defend his WBC welterweight world title against Abel Ramos this November at AT&T Stadium, streaming globally on Netflix. The bout will take place on the undercard of the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson card. Barrios said he is thrilled to be a part of the once-in-a-lifetime event, and in front of his Texas people, he gets to fight and showcase his indigenous roots on a global platform. You can find more on this fight on KSAT.com.
Thank you so much for staying up with us tonight. That does it for us here on the Night Beat.
We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.
Good night.